my name is Bill Weld. I'm psyched to be here. It's fabulous to see you all. Thank you so much for coming out. I do have to tell you, I have somewhat scary news for you. You may very well be looking at the next Vice President of the United States. This year say, oh, you know, isn't it draining, isn't it a long shot, running as a third party, all the advantages, the deck is stacked against you. In my opinion, our ticket actually has invincible advantages this year. First of all, in some respects, it's a seasoned as well as a flowing together ticket. And Gary and I have known each other for 20 years. We served together as governors back in the latter part of the 1990s. We knew each other well. We were members of a two-person mutual admiration society. I knew this was a real man. I knew what he did in New Mexico, and he was familiar with my record in Massachusetts, and we just kind of clicked. And when you can look back on that, it just meets a lot of issues sort of in shorthand. Another invincible issue we have, advantage that we have this year, is our opponents. Each of them is floating above 50% disapproval rating. Another advantage we have is that we have a very simple message to deliver to the American people, and that's that we want only one thing. Our task is to maximize the happiness, the prosperity, and the freedom of the people of the United States. In other words, it's not all about us, which you could say of one of the other parties, and it's not all about a government empire, which you could say about the other party. Another advantage is that we have a very simple platform. Nobody can deny that when we were two-term governors, we changed our states. We're demonstrated change agents. We're both elected as Republican governors, succeeding Democratic governors in Democratic states. Both of our states were in terrible fiscal trouble. I had the highest unemployment rate of all the industrial states when I came into office. And by the time we left office, each of us left balanced budgets and hugely improved economic pictures in our states. And that's a fact. And a promise is quite different from a fact. The other guys are playing with only promises, at best. So, in terms of the politics of us and the other parties, another advantage is we're coming right up the middle of the pike. Everyone knows that this country has lost the middle in politics. 42%, going on 50% of the voters in the United States identify as independents now. You know, that was 15, 20 points lower not so long ago. The reason is that the two parties have become almost poisoned by their monopoly position astride the power horse in Washington. They seem to exist now only for the purpose of killing each other off. They want to make sure that the other guys lose. You know, a malignant narcissist is someone who thinks it's all about them, but they're not happy unless the other guy is losing. You know, that could describe both parties. In a way, it could also describe another individual in the United States. I do think the American people are coming to understand that all the partisan gridlock and the blame game and the finger pointing that goes on in Washington is not really creating results. I mean, the result is that the government shuts down, that no legislation gets passed, that everything gets filibustered to death, and the interests of the American people are not being put first and foremost, whereas we don't have a dog in that fight. We don't want to give sanctimonious speeches from the White House about do it my way or you're all idiots. We don't want to say you have to do it my way because the other party are idiots. If Gary and I are elected, we come without animus to the job of government in the United States. Of the Libertarian Party to help us run the government. We would also hope to hire the best and brightest of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, so that when we send something down to the Hill for consideration, a proposal from the administration, it won't arrive all highly charged and guaranteed of dead on arrival opposition from half the people in Congress. It might just be a handy way of getting some stuff done, and I think we can make that case to the American people this fall. So how do we get there? Obviously, we have to be in the presidential debates. Gary has been polling 11, 12, 13% recently. The rule of thumb, and it's only a rule of thumb, is that in past elections, the commission which sets the rules for inclusion in the debate, which is a non-profit 501c3, it's not a government agency, has said, we want you to be at 15% in order to be in the debates. There's some noise recently that they may, and I point out that 11, 12, 13 is pretty close to 15, and then a few months ago, that figure was 5, it wasn't even 10. So momentum is on our side. Between money, popularity, and momentum, I'll take Big Mo every single time. So we've got that Mo, we're pretty close already. I think the month of August is going to seal the deal. There's some discussion around the commission, possibly moving to 10% threshold for the first debate and then going back to 15 for the second. That, of course, would get us in even on today's numbers, but I'm morally confident we're going to get there. I'm someone involved, as are we all, in fundraising for the ticket, and it is absolutely spiked in the last 3 weeks. So something is happening out there. Campaigns, I can tell when adrenaline is kicking in, and adrenaline has definitely started to kick in this election campaign. Things are changing out there.